top 10 strongest units. What's up guys, Boris here, and today I'm bringing you guys a bit of a different spin on the whole top 10 strongest, because a lot of times you forget about the stats. We talk about captain abilities, we talk about special abilities and what kind of teams characters will go on, but we don't really talk about their stats. And really, when you think about it, that's what determines how much damage you're going to do. So today I'm bringing you guys the top 10 strongest characters by attack stats. So at number 10, we have Enraged Arlong, who, if you guys remember, is one of the earliest units in the game. Back in the day, he's the character that you would probably re-roll for if you were just starting off in the first month or so, because he had 1491 attack as well as one of the best early game captain abilities. Now over time, the captain ability has pretty much become obsolete. Any other slasher rare recruit or legend was going to have probably a better captain ability, but Enraged Arlong is still on the top 10 list after all this time, which is pretty insane. I still can't believe it. And I think, in my opinion, he's a must-have. He's a must-have early game unit. Still very strong, still very powerful. And if you ever need a red slasher, I think Arlong is going to be your go-to guy for most cases. It's just, again, one of those characters that over time is still very powerful. I don't know what Bandai was thinking when they originally released him. A lot of experimentation must have been going on. But Arlong still in our hearts at number 10. Next up, we got Monster Point Chopper. Now this one is getting one of my personal favorites. Awesome character. First character to cross the 1500 threshold, considering he was only the second raid boss that ever showed up. So again, some of these early game units, they really pushed really hard in terms of their stats, and even that HP is a lot. But the reason he has a lot of HP is because he cuts all red HP by 60%, but it's still a 3 times attack boost, so really awesome for speed runs and speed farming, any sort of green raid boss or Coliseum or Fortnite's more specifically. And also he has one of the highest damage ranges for random special. So with double Fossy, you know, you might be doing upwards of 1 million just with his special alone. So overall, very awesome and easy to beat raid boss that packs a punch when you put him on your team. Really cool. Keep in mind that there are other 1500 attackers. There's 2 other ones, so technically this is more of a tie, but I sorted them by other abilities as well. So the next one, we got number 8, Arm Zephyr from the Coliseum, and again he has 1500 attack as well. A really awesome captain ability, and overall this is one of those guys that is going to be really difficult to get, but you can get him. He's, you know, free to play unit. Again, the Coliseums are already difficult enough, but this one I believe had like multiple mini bosses. So Arm Zephyr, in my opinion, you saw him in my Coliseum top 10 Coliseum video. Really good unit if you can get him. Awesome special, which actually will boost 2 different colors by 1.75, so it's actually very, very powerful. However, like I said, it's one of the tougher characters to farm, so keep that in mind. But if you can farm him, I definitely would recommend doing so. Very powerful in terms of stats, in terms of special. Awesome Coliseum unit. Cannot really go wrong with Zephyr. So, you know, try to get it if you can. If you can't, then it's no big deal. You're not really missing out on too much per se. But next up, we got Donquixote, Doflamingo. Speaking of free-to-play characters, another 1500 unit that has become pretty much a staple on a lot of teams. So I always say, if I could take a look at 100 random teams that people are running, I'm gonna guess 50% of them are gonna have this Doflamingo on there. Assuming maybe, you know, they don't, or this Dofi or at least the other Dofi. I'll talk about the other Dofi later. But 1500 attack, pretty crazy. Again, early game, sort of early game raid boss. And again, the go-to orb booster, especially if you don't have the other Dofi. 2 times orb booster, you can't really beat that. And again, it also has orb manipulation. Just overall, a really strong unit. Goes on almost any top 10 list, especially when it comes to attack stats. But again, Dofi's a character you've seen before on my list. You guys know what's up with, you know, what's the deal with Dofi, because he's just so good overall. So just, you know, awesome to have him on the list once again. Next up, Timeskip Zoro. This guy is not even out yet. Technically he comes out tonight, but he's already on the top 10 list of strongest attack. 1518. Pretty awesome amount of attack there. No, I don't understand why I did 18. It's kind of random. He's already going to be making a lot of top 10 lists, I think. I have to make a whole different video just on Zoro because he has a really awesome captain ability and a really amazing special for slasher teams. So I think he's gonna definitely be, somewhere in the top 10 legends list. But I mean, he's just an all-around gonna be a great character with strong HP, strong attack, strong special, strong captain ability. If you guys get him tonight, then be very excited. Again, I'll have a whole different video just for him because he deserves a lot. There's a lot of awesome teams. There's just a lot of awesome teams that we've been thinking of. And, I wouldn't do him justice in this video. But definitely be happy if you do get him tonight because he's going to be a monster. Now, next up, we have Nightmare Luffy. And, again, this is a character that when he came out, he was very hyped up because he had the strongest attack at the time, which was 1520. Another tie, which I'll talk about later. But 1520 attack, 3000 HP, really awesome unit that actually has a very powerful captain ability as well. 3.5 times, very high risk, high reward because every single turn you're going to start losing a bit of attack and a bit of HP. So it's awesome for speed runs, and it's just one of those, like, when you're using Nightmare Luffy, you feel very powerful for the first couple turns. It's pretty insane. And on top of that, one of the few characters that Bandai has done where there's a lot of attack, a lot of power, and has delay as well. It's sort of weird. Those normally don't go together. Normally delay is put on very weak characters, but Nightmare Luffy's character I use a lot on Rayleigh teams, Rob Lucci teams. Definitely one of the stronger raid bosses for sure, especially 40 staminas. Now, top 4. We starting off with Blackbeard. This guy is insane, man. It's just crazy the amount of stuff this guy can do. Again, tied with Nightmare Luffy at 1520, so I have to put him on top because he is a legend and overall just a way better character, even though Nightmare Luffy already is an amazing character. So, Blackbeard, just great captain ability that allows you to go through any sort of shield or barrier, and then on top of that, a 30% health cut as a special that also goes through a barrier if he's your captain. I mean, this guy is literally all, like, everything you want from a character, and it really shows, well, not just this character, other characters I'll talk about a little bit, but just shows how much Bandai is pushing some of the recent characters to make them very, very powerful. So, overall, a character that I personally still really, really want on Japan. Hopefully some of you guys have him out there, but hey, Blackbeard, I'm going to be looking out for him, hopefully get him one day, because he's a very powerful unit. Now, at number 3, we have Doflamingo, the other Doflamingo. This one is pretty much an upgrade from the free-to-play raid boss version, although that one, again, is still a go-to for a lot of teams. But this one, again, 1530 attack. Again, another one of those. At the time, he had the highest attack, so he was very hyped up. Amazing captain ability with a high damage potential if you can hit those perfects. And then, on top of that, a very powerful special. Pretty much the best orb booster in the game. So, you're going to see him in a lot of teams. I use him pretty much on almost every team now. And it's just one of those where if you have him, you're going to run him. If you don't, you're going to run Doflamingo. But it's just crazy that we have 2 Doflamingos. The only character in the list that has 2 different versions of him in terms of the top 10 attack stats. So it's just pretty crazy that there's 2 Doflamingos that are both on this list. I don't know what Bandai, is doing. Doflamingo's not the strongest character in the anime, but for some reason, he is in the game. So, top 2 guys. At number 2, we have Whitebeard. Now, this is young Whitebeard. And this guy's very difficult to obtain. He's a secret boss. You have to do a lot of raid bosses to try to get him. But if you do manage to somehow take him down, you do get a copy of him. And once you evolve him, he gets all the way up to 1570 attack. So again, another character at the time, was the highest attacking unit in the game. And captain ability is decent. He does have the largest HP cut in the game at 40%. So this guy, is used for a lot of zombie teams, but overall, I mean, his stats are amazing. You can just use him as a beat stick because this guy is just gonna wreck anything in his way with that 1570 attack. And don't forget, guys, I didn't mention this, but Sailor effects are something that have recently introduced to Japan that can also boost those even higher. So it's just the crazy, man. You're starting to see a lot of crazy damage outputs on Japan, and you're gonna get even crazier because at number 1 we have Sakazuki. aka Akainu, and this guy 1600, first character to cross the 1600 threshold, also 3500 attacks. So when people were really talking about how powerful Sakazuki is, how overpowerful and the power creep, this is why. Just look at that, man. He has 100 more attack than 4 characters on the top 10 list. So he's very powerful. Just everything about him they really pushed. Highest attack in the game. Also with the highest damage potential, you know, rivaling almost every other character in the game. And it's just one of those characters that really shows you just how much Bandai has been pushing these recent ones. Thankfully, you know, Zoro, they kept him on the lower end, although he's still in the top 10 list. But, you know, who knows what the future of OPTC has in store for us. So, once again, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed another one of these top 10s. More on the way, like always. I have a lot of awesome top 10s planned. Definitely check out some of my older ones. I have a lot of cool ones. I know most of you guys have checked them out. But if you guys liked the video, make sure to like it, subscribe, share it. You know, I really appreciate all support that these top 10s I've been getting. And like always, going to be more on the way. So, with that said, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.